Welcome back to part 2 of the Gurmat alternative to Kirt. So here we will explore, just as we did for Kirt, we will look at the different forms of the viable alternative to Kirt, which is Kar. Instead of Kirt Karni, Gurbani's recommendation to us is Kar Karni. Kar also leads to courage, which is the latter part of Anand Karaj, for instance. Another thing to remember is that it is related with and comes from Kar. If Kar is what happens through our body, then Kar is the energy and the driving impetus behind the deed, which is directed via our hukam or will, and is what pleases us or is in our pana. ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ. The thing to evaluate then is whether that pana of our little self aligns with the larger self, which is our mool, our source. Anyway, as you see here, Kar comes in several different forms. Notably, Kirt in all its forms came about 92 times. But just Kar alone, Rara Mukta, Kar alone is mentioned 161 times. And with its alternatives, it appears almost 3 times as much as Kirt. And that also is the productive alternative to Kirt. You also will notice that Kar, which is sort of the source of the Kar, it comes thousands of times. So it does tell us something. As for Kar, if you hadn't noticed it earlier, then we promise you, there is no way you will ever forget it now. That is because there is not a self-proclaimed Sikh in the world who has not heard or recited these lines. Jo tud bhave, sai pali kar. Sanjog, vijog, doe kar chalave hain, lekhe aave hain bhag. Nanak, sache ki sachi kar. Jiv jiv hukam, tivah tivkar. Jinko nadar karam, tinkar. Do they ring a bell? One certainly hopes they did. Yes, they are from Japbani. It is the one that pretty much every Sikh at least knows of, and early enough. So please note that some of these are neither positive nor are they negative. Sanjog and Vijog are states of being united or disunited, to be in integrity or in a lack thereof. Both of them are states of being that are reflected from whether we are connected with our mool, or if we arise out of a sense of hon, which is I, main, which is am, hon main, which is that I am. It is my assertion of a distinct identity, a distinct entity, which is disuniting from the fact of oneness, and it is to be broken, and in the space of fear, enmity, competition, and a space of a lack of there not being enough. Because, remember, karta tere sab kich hai. But we do not reside in our hirda kar, which is our true home, as that is where we are to unite with the mool. Instead, we are lost in the allure and the shine of Maya and the Mayic endeavors. Some of these are obvious. Sache ki sachi kar. But some are illustrative. Jo tud bhave, sahi pali kar. Only that kar is helpful, or pali, which is pleasing to the larger self. Gurbani calls it tu, tud, as in tu karta, tu hua, and ek tu hi, and ab kab jab tab tu hi, and prab ek tu hi. That is why it says, those who realize that and are facing internally rather than externally towards Maya, those Gurmukhi earn the fruits of Kar. To them, the truth is evident. They are not fooled by appearances alone. Gurmukhi kar kamavani, sach pargat hoye. They are not fooled. Now, let's be transparent. Note that one of the uses of kar illustrated here is negative. Let's read that. Bikh ki kar kamavani, bikh hi mahe samay. If we earn the fruits of poison, which is bikh, then it will be no surprise that we will find ourselves immersed in a poisonous space. Bikh ki kar kamavani. And it is also not the case that we can look to blame others for our actions. We cannot shirk responsibility. Ape kar karaisi. Of course, this does not mean that there are two, as in me and the one. This is referring to the will that flows through me and you, the hukam and the pana. If you go back and look at this pada, then it is instructing the man. Who else would it instruct? It says that the state of Gurmukhi is for she who is focused on Hari. If the man is occupied with Gur ka Shabad, by the way, the teachings of Gurbani are Gur ka Shabad. Then alone will our man and our internal body be free of mal, which is, as it sounds in English, mal as in malcontent, malicious. It is a negative and oppositional state. Free from that, we may be nirmal, free of the mal. Instead of that, let us earn the fruits of those efforts that are aligned with hukam, within which everything exists. Now, if I am confused or unsure, then who do I ask? Haan gur puchon apne, gur puch kar kamao. Then I choose to be directed by the gur, the technique of universal enlightenment, the Satgur. Note, it says kamao, not kamao. This line is a testimony of a Pagat, how they got to be in that state. It is not coming from a I know what to do. Rather, it is a confession that when my man is unclear, then I seek guidance from the Gur. By the way, if you notice, this is Nanak Sahib's confession. That brings up the other big thing. Who is Gur Nanak calling Gur? The Jogis had asked who his Guru was. Kavan Mool, Kavan Mat Vela, Tera Kavan Guru, Jiska Tu Chela? And Nanak Sahib's answer is enlightening and instructive. He says, Pavan Aramb, Satgur Mat Vela, Shabad Guru, Surti Tun Chela. My Surti, attention is in resonance with, that means in ton of Shabad Guru. It's in resonant, it is not dissonant. Nanak's Guru is Shabad, as is Kabir's. And of all the Pagats whose witness is within the Gur ka Shabad, the Pothi Sahib, that Sikhs erroneously refer to as Shabad Guru Granth Sahib. Granth Sahib is not Shabad Guru. Shabad Guru gives Gyan to all sentient beings. For instance, if you don't believe that, read out the Bani in Gur ka Shabad to cats and dogs. Do you think they're going to get anything from it? No, they will get nothing from it. This Gyan is only for us humans. But Shabad Guru gives Gyan to all sentient beings. Satgur, Mera, Sada, Sada, Na Ave, Na Jaye, O Abnasi Purkh hai, O Sab Meh Rahe Samaye. Nanak is not Abnasi, and neither is the Pothi Sahib. It can be burnt. The words O Khir Jahange, but the ones that are being talked about, O Akharne, they will not be destroyed. The one that so many call Guru Granth, it is not Guru. Rather, it is Gur ka Shabad. And it's also referred to in Gurbani itself as Pothi Parmeshar ka Than. Parmeshar is Guru. That is the Guru of all Pagats and the Guru of any aspiring Sikhs. But getting back to Kar, we will find great merit and advantage in finding resonance in सच की कार. सच्चे की कार जिहड़ी हैगी है लग रहा सच नाल ही होगी ना. The alternative is to do all of these religious deeds, which is nothing more than karam kand, fake, external acts, performed by those who are not internally in tune with such, those who have not accepted the raza of hukam. Hukam razai chalna, Nanak likhya naal. As you notice here, man re gur ki kar kamaye. It is our man that does not want to be in raza due to the attractiveness of maya and its moh, the Mahamohini as it is called. Note also here that there is another trend that emerges. Jo sache laye so sach lage. And sanjogi aya kirt kamaya karni kar karai. Both kirt and kar come here as positive. Why? It is because they are born of sanjog, which is a state of union and integrity with mool. Then the car that is being referred to is not mine. Rather, it is karai. It is me who is the tool. And the kar is karai by the higher self, which is possible only when it is in jog, sanjog, in unity. That is a state possible for Gurmukhi, who is consuming Amrit Naam. The last line, Amrit Naam Sad Punchiye, Gurmukhi Kar Kamaye. And that state is possible for Gurmukh who is consuming Amrit Naam, the being that sustains itself on emulating the 8 gun of Mool that were mentioned earlier. That, my friends, is the Kar and the Amrit Naam. So, looking at Kari, by being engaged such, can I be free of the disease, the dis-ease, the rog, janam janam ka rog gavaya, that is being referred to, that has plagued me? That is the only Kari that is successful. And that is also the Kirtan with which I am perpetually engaged. That is the Gavaho Din Rati, Hari Kirtan Gavaho Din Rati, Safal Eha Hai Kari Jiyo. That has also been confused by too many people who think Kirtan is to sing the Gurka Shabad. Harika Kirtan Gavaho is to be perpetually engaged in those thoughts, the actions, that space which keeps me connected with my mool, keeps me growing. Harya, like Sat Tahat Pai Haryavali, Jithe Mera Satgur Baitha. Another should be well known. This is the Kari that Satgur has recommended. It is to be Gur-oriented in my service of Sahib, the higher self. This has also been misunderstood by too many Sikhs who think Gurduarai is a building that we go to. Satguru Furmaya, Kari e kareo, Gurudwara hoye kya, Sahib samma leo. Sikhs are confusing Guru Dwara hoye kya with the building that we are calling Gurduarai. It is not. Gurudwara is through the Guru, or to be oriented towards Guru. And note that it says Gurudware hoye kya, not Gurudware jaye kya. Similarly, Gur Nanak says in Japbani, Kiv Sachiara hoi hai, not Kiv Sachiara baniya. Sachiara is a state of being. It is not a state of doing. Now further firming up the recommended status of Kar or Kari, Guru Arjan Sahib asks, how shall I be free of home and garab? Which is a sense of prideful superiority, which is rooted in duality, as in binsa moh mera ar tera, binsa apni tari, santahon, iha batavo kari, chit home garab nivari. How will this happen if we are alert and present? Ehnis neend na sove. This is not the external sleep of the body, by the way. Rather, this is the mind that is not alert and present to the fact of one and oneness. Rather, it is consumed in Maya. Doctors and other claimants do not know the way to live this healthy life. It is available to those who have the presence to listen within. Prem ke kaan lage tan pitare. Those who are directed such get this riddle of life. Only those who deal in Amrit may know its value. Amrit ke sar soi jana je Amrit sava pari jiyo. Those who are directed such get this riddle of life. Only those who deal in Amrit may know its value. Wow. What a clear direction this is providing. Now, Kar, with a Rara with an Onkar. It's the third form. It's very striking to note that 20 out of the 21 times that this version occurs in Gurbani, as in Jai Jai Kar. As you note, all of these are Jai Jai Kar, 20 out of 21 times. So it's critical to know what this Jai Jai Kar is about. Gurbani shows that these actions are of ustate, gave, which is being engaged in praises of Gosai or Parmeshar, who has fashioned the Puri Banth, Jin Puri Banth Banahi. Also, it is Gur Pure ki Vadiyai. It is getting back to Ustat or Vadiyai. This is for you and for myself. The one does not need our Ustat. We, in this game of Maya, feel we need the adulation or praises of others. Those who do, we need it because there is something missing in our being. We are not complete or whole. We imagine that this praise or adulation will fill that void within us. It will not. But for the Parmeshar, there's nothing lacking. Vadda na hove, kahat na jaye. That Hari is the actual doer, who also is the keeper of those who know. By the way, they are called the Jan. These are the ones who know. Gurbani does not refer to the Jan as in like the weak and despondent people. They are not the Jan of Gurbani. These are the exalted ones who realize how small and ultimately powerless they are. Sort of like the moon, which has no light of its own, but reflects the magnificent light of the sun. That too is an allegory that repeats in Gurbani. So, this Jai Jai Kar or adulation and praises, they reverberate within the being of those who have tasted the ras of Shabad Guru. That is what it means by Jag Pitar. Not that it is in the world outside of us, rather, it is within my being. The final Kar, Karai, confirms that what we have learned so far, that if we wish to be one, then we need to engage in oneness the way Gurmat recommends, and not through duality or the sense of separation. Sachi Karai, Sach Mila, Gurmati Palle Pae, that person who occurs in this way, so nar jamme na mare, na ave na jaye. That person is not caught in the vicious cycle of ineptitude. That person is also one who will find respect in the darbar or court of judgment that is within. But if we are engaged in other pursuits, duji kare lag, we will only be wasting our life. Janam gavaiya. Except Naam, all else that we are engaged in life is poison. Vin naam hai, sab vese, panje khaiye. However, if I am directed by Gur, then I recognize one and oneness. Haan Gur mil, ik pachanada, doya kagal chit na janada. I do not allow my attention to dwell upon the sense of duality. And the last line is key. Hari ikkate kare layon, Jyo pave tive nibahe, Jio. The Jio, which is us, humans, the sentient beings and recipients of the Gur ka Shabad and its guidance. It tells the Jio who are joined in this ikate Karai, wholesome endeavor by my mool, the Hari, then delivers as is pleasing to the higher self. Jyo pave tive nibahi Jio. And in conclusion, this is the key to Gurbani's guidance and answer to the question, what is the source of our actions? Either it is Home or it is Mool. If it is Home, then I am doing something and I am this or I am that and the other. But if it is our Mool, as it is for all the Bhagats whose testimony we physically bow down to all over the world in what we call Matha Tekana, then why is it that our actions do not reflect the beauty of the life of the Bhagats? And how will we know the difference? Note that in all these lines for Karai, it is followed with Laye, Laya, Laya, Laye. It is not Karda hai. It is not our doing. Rather, it is the being directed by the Mool, our source and higher self. That is the Kar of a Bhagat and of those who are aspiring to Bhakti, which is the life of a Gursik, moving towards Gurmukh and on to Sachiar, who then becomes a Bhagat. These are the stages of realization in Gurbani and Gurmat. Or we can continue down the road of Kirt, which is mere subservience to Maya and service of the temporary, the Kach. Karkamani, on the other hand, is a service of Sach. And it requires us having a different source for our actions and for our being. Let me repeat that. The road of Kirt is subservience to Maya and the service of Kach, the temporary. But Karkamani is the service of Sach and requires us to have a different source for our actions and our being. It requires us to switch from Home as our source to our Mool. And it is our Man that needs to get this. We don't need you to believe what we have shared. Your belief means very little. We need to bring it into our practice, and we need to be present to this at all times. As mentioned earlier, ehnis jagge, neend na sove. And with that, friends, we conclude this session on Gurbani's alternative to Kirt Karni. We hope that you have found some value in it. So please take what value you do find and don't carry the weight of any mistakes that may have been made inadvertently. Also, we ask that you subscribe to the channel and share this so that we may all dig deeper and strengthen our relation with Gurbani and its guidance. Now, we do not pretend to have all the answers and would appreciate your engagement should you see fit. Remember, we cannot improve if we think we already know everything. And in order to learn, we must first unlearn what we know or think that we know. With that, see you all on our website, oneinfinite.com, or on our YouTube channel, and occasionally on Twitter. The addresses are listed. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.